know, Roger struggled for 14 years from knowing that he had Parkinson's, and he was determined to last as long as he could. And boy did he. Only a few weeks ago he came down to the pavilion here, and some of you will remember, on his scooter, his red scooter, no way was he not going to come to see Andy here for the talk. He pressurised the staff to help him into and out of the van so he could prove he could get in and out. But he couldn't walk, and he needed a wheelchair, etc., etc. It didn't make any difference. But we have a wonderful Laura carer called Laura, who persuaded him that perhaps it wasn't a good idea. Agreed, Laura? Where are you? There she is. I mean, there were 3 ladies in our lives throughout Ashton Keynes. One of them, her initial is I. I won't say what her name is, but you'll all know her from Ashton Keynes. She's been a great friend and an enormous help to us over the years, going right back to Combe House and then on to Garden House. She helped us move here. And Laura, who came into our life nearly 3 years ago, who looked after Mrs. Orengo Jones in the village. Do you remember Mrs. Orengo Jones? She lived till she was 105. And this lady was part of that. And now she's, you know, all 3, and I've got Yvonne at the back there, who's been with us for, well over 20 years, and her family. They've all become part of our family now, because we've had fun together, and it's very difficult to explain, but Roger was the kind of man, and I suppose, who loved people. Didn't matter who they were, where they came from. When we first went to Libya, I remember we didn't join in what was happening in the West. We wanted to join in with all the expats there, the Germans, the Scandinavians, the Americans, the Indians, and that's where we learned. Keep an open door. And as many of you know from Ashton Keynes, remember, we had an open door, didn't we? This is an adventure I had with Roger. Oh gosh, 62 years ago. He was about to be sent to Libya, and in those days, the men went first, and the women had to wait for accommodation. But before he went, he was stationed at RAF Watersham, and he'd become great friends with a pilot called Jeff. Now his name wasn't Jeff Hawke, but he was called Jeff Hawke because he was a very daring pilot. And he was about to take a Messerschmitt over to American, to a buyer. By that time he'd left the Air Force, and he asked Roger, who was a specialist in both radar and wireless, if he could put the wireless into the aeroplane, and then he would do a hop up to Greenland, over to Canada, all the way down to America. Well, Roger did manage it in 6 weeks, and just before Roger went off, I got a phone call, can you come back to Suffolk? I've got a surprise for you. And I was told I was going to be taken up in the Messerschmitt. Right? Yeah, that was something, because I was so excited. I'm going up in a plane that apparently very, very few women had actually ever been in. You know, it was a relic of the Second World War. I looked at this plane and thought, oh my goodness, it's too small. Where are they going to put me? They managed to put me somewhere. I was behind the pilot, Jeff, in a makeshift seat, but with a very strong safety belt round here and down here, and I soon found out why. And Roger was in the co-pilot's seat because he was checking out the radio. Well, we gently went up, we had a little drive around, and everything was working with the radio, and then Jeff said, right, we're going to beat up Ipswich Airport. And I thought, well, I wonder what that means. Suddenly, there was the conning tower. We went straight for it, up, over, in a big loop, and me, I was stuck, face, stomach, everything here. I couldn't move. And what staggered me was, how the hell did these pilots get over that? And that's one thing I hope you can tell us later. How did you get over that state of the G-force? But that was one of the many adventures that I had with my husband over 62 years, and one never to be forgotten. Right. Oh, and one other thing I must mention. You'll see, there's a picture of Roger up there. Underneath is his favourite whiskey glass, with his favourite whiskey in, thanks to Keith back there. Remember the whiskey you bought him? He loves it. Well, he did. And so when you go past the picture and the glass of whiskey, whatever you've got in your hand, even if it's a plate, raise it and say, "Cheers, mate." Thank you very much.